God's house. And my desire is to bring glory and worship to God through this healing ministry, because He is the only one worthy of glory.
Amen.
It was difficult to choose a subject for today, so I said probably some remembers will be useful for everybody, and I have just a few general ideas that help to improve our health. In general, if we have a good diet, we can prevent 50% of the myocardial infarction and strokes. We can prevent 62% of causes of diabetes type 2. Also, if we have a good diet, we can prevent 75% of prostate cancer, 70% of colon and rectal cancers, 50% of breast cancers, and pancreas cancer. And this is just a few. You know, are many other reasons to have a good diet. Health nutrition can add 10 to 15 healthy years to our life, so that's a good news. God bless us with the spirit of prophecy, but also the science. Today encourage us to increase in our diet vegetables, seeds, nuts, olives, and to drink water. Also, we are encouraged to reduce the consumption of animal products, sugar, alcohol, coffee, black tea, smoke. This is a big subject, and everybody can find many courses if they want to understand more how to imply this in our lives. Another remember is important for us to distinguish between nutritional value and caloric value, because sometimes we make confusion. Sometimes we think if somebody had a high caloric value, that means it's a good food. In the most of cases, it's wrong. We need to have a big nutritional value in the food to be healthy. And for example, if we have 250 grams of potatoes, this contains 150 calories if are boiled, but if are fried, they contain 400 calories. So we can see the processed food increase the calories and decrease the nutritional value. So it's better if when we can, to choose something that conserves the nutritional value in the food. Another remember that is also important: over-alimentation, intemperance, and lack of appetite control are not good at all. And I know everybody knows this, but from time to time it's better if you remember. Research in the field of neuroscience has reintroduced these concepts as important for mental health as well as for general health. What we eat affects the frontal lobe, that is the headquarters for our will, for our consciousness, and for value judgment. Unhealthy food affects the frontal lobe and negatively and produce an imbalance between the limbic system, which is the headquarters of emotions and pleasure. So instead of being driven by the pleasure, it's better to be driven by the value judgments. If we eat just something that we like, that is tasty, and we don't eat something that is more helpful, it's better probably to to be in a vicious and injured circle, and for years to stay there till we get sick, and after that it's very difficult and we need many efforts to escape from this circle. And another remember, nature, sun exposure, obviously in appropriate hours, physical exercises, sports, mutual supporting, emotional support within the family, community groups like church, friends with healthy habits, prayer, and the spirit of thanksgiving all together contribute to our health. And I led the most important thing, in my opinion, to the last one, relationship with God. We all are created by God. Even if we don't have very important studies, universities or masters, doesn't matter. If we have a good relationship with God, He will teach us, He will guide us, and our health will be improved all the time. I recommend for everybody to get the Ministry of Healing book. It's a wonderful book, and just a little story, and with this I will close. I was on call. This was 2 months ago, and was a Saturday day. So, being in the hospital, like a medical resident officer, I was in my room listening preach, and I take this book, Ministry of Healing, and I'm reading quite regularly from this book. And it was chapter 4, the touch of faith, that subject. And I read all the chapter, and I was feeling so encouraged in my belief that science and God are so united that it's impossible to separate, even if the human being in the last years are trying to do. And I received a call, was from OPD department. The manager called me and said, Adina, I will tell you something. Come here, please. You don't want to hear this. And I was thinking, what happened? I went there and she said, is here a lady and we need to call immediately the crisis team. And I said, what happened? And she said, the lady wants to suicide and is here with her husband. And she said, if she does not suicide here, she will go at home and she will suicide at home. And her husband said, no worries, I will help you with all the tablets. And they all was really afraid about the situation. And I said, because just I read that chapter and I understand what is important is for a sick patient to be put in a relationship with God. Normally, just I need to call the crisis team. I don't need to go to speak with the patient if the manager and everybody else speak with the patient. But I said, can I speak with her, please? And she was a little bit concerned and she said yes. I was really surprised when I opened the door. I was thinking to meet a lady that is young or maybe in the middle of the age, something like that. I was nearly shocked when I opened the door and I found an old lady, 75 years old. And right, I said, God, I need help. You know, when it's somebody young or middle-aged, it's easy to say to look somebody nice that can come in your life. But when it's 75, sometimes difficult. So I said, God, I need help, and I stayed near to her and her husband, who was really upset about the situation and was, yes, out of situation. And I tried to have eye contact with them, but in the first minutes was really impossible. They was really set up about everything. And I asked her, what is concerning you? And she told me she's in pain all the time and she don't want to have any pain at all, and she definitely will suicide. She don't have any hope. She is at this age and 6 years continual pain, nothing is working, and she was 100% that today she wants to die. And her husband agreed with her that is the time to die. Wow. And I said, I asked her a little bit directly, just to have a little surprise on her, and I said, do you pray? She suddenly became stressed and she said, what? Do you pray? I asked her. Oh no, she said, I don't believe in God. I don't believe at all in God. I said, why? And she said, why to believe in God? I'm in pain all the time. Nothing is working. My mother died from cancer. And I said, but are so many reasons to believe. And sometimes the sick and illness is not a reason to don't believe in God. And I said, you know, I was born with a malformation, a kidney malformation. And now I thank God for this problem that I had when I born, because that experience that was horrible for my family put me in touch with God, and definitely I believe in Him. And I tell her the story with the surgery and everything that I have, and I prayed like a child, and I believe, even if the parents and somebody else they didn't believe, but I believe that if I pray, God helped me, and God didn't disappoint me, obviously. And I spoke with her a little more, and at the end I said, you know, I'm really sure that God, He loves your mom. She was surprised, and I said, you know, before your mom has cancer, and before your mom died, Jesus loves her and died for her. And she now can have the chance to live eternally when He come back again. And I said, God loves you. Even if you have pain, before you have pain, He died for you. And I said to God, go at home and pray every day for a month. She was also terrified because she can't sleep during the night. She said she has many months and she's not sleeping just 1 hour per day. And I said, go and do this every night for a month. Pray, just pray. Even if you don't believe, just pray. And don't look to the overcome till the month is end. To be honest, I saw her in the hospital. She was very far after 1 month and a half, and I was happy. She's still alive, obviously. And before she left, I said, think, maybe God has something good for you. Do you have kids? And she said, yes, they are big, nearly 60 years. I have grandkids. Maybe one of your grandkids will be award, will receive a Nobel Prize. Or maybe, I don't know, another big prize. Would you like to enjoy that moment? And she definitely said yes. So I said, think that never ever, doesn't matter the age, God can have very, very nice surprise for us. And I know that she and her husband from the department manager, they prayed together. This is what I know. Yeah, and I think this is one of the important thing in our life, especially like Seventh-day Adventists, because we can have a better health, because God will guide us with advices and everything that's in the Bible and in the spirit of prophecy. And through us, He can help another people that are around us. Okay. Thank you, and God bless you, and give you fully health.
Church, sorry. Happy Sabbath, everyone. This is. Oh, sorry. Happy Sabbath, everyone. I'm sorry. This is the first sermon I've done. Well, it's not really a sermon, but a presentation that I've done as an adult. I did little sermonettes up at this pulpit, I believe, when I was younger. But this is the first time I've done something like this in Divine Service, so I hope that you'll bear with me. I'm not a preacher, but the Lord has blessed me in so many ways, and I just want to share with you today what I've learned. I'm a little bit nervous, but thank you to the children for their lovely songs. That did ease my nerves a little bit. So today is about health and faith. And so I thought, I'm a big fan of definitions, and so I want to make sure we know what we're talking about today. And so I wanted to start off by having a definition of what is health. Health is something that's quite subjective to all of us, and so I'd really appreciate it if we could have 2 or 3 volunteers just to say what health means to them. And please bear in mind that I did grow up in this church, so if I don't get volunteers, I know you by name to pick you out, okay? So anyone, please, what does health mean to you? Sister Mackenzie, what does health mean to you?
My health is very important.
Yes, so health is very important. Anybody else? Yvonne, what does health mean to you? Sister Yvonne at the back there.
I thought you would walk me closer.
I'm sorry.
All right. Health means how well you feel within your body.
Yes, I agree with that as well. Anybody else want to share? Okay.
Health is wealth.
Health is wealth. I like that. A bit of rhyming there as well. Well, the World Health Organization says that health is, they define health as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. I think that's quite a good definition because it encompasses a lot, but I'd like to add something to that definition and say that maybe I don't completely agree with it. Not only is it a state of physical, mental, and social well-being, but I think it's also a state of spiritual well-being as well. And it says here in this definition that it's a state of complete well-being in all those areas. But you can talk to some people and they might have a cold, or they might be feeling, a little bit low, or just may have hurt their ankles, things like that. We say to them, "Are you healthy?" And they say yes, because health may not be just a little cold here and there, but it's your overall well-being and how you're doing completely. So health is such a massive part of our lives. I've been a doctor for the last 2 years, and I've studied medicine for 5 years before that. And so I've seen people from all walks of life come in and have issues with their health. And the thing about health is that it doesn't differentiate between the wealthy, between people that are poor, between people's races, or what language they speak, or what country they come from. It might be that because you're black or because you're older, you might be more predisposed to certain illnesses, but there's no way of getting away from it. So it's something that affects all of us. And that's why it's so important that we have days like this where we discuss health and where we learn what the Lord can do for us. And so I'm very happy that Bilston today has decided to do a day like this, and I pray that you continue to. So I wanted to talk a bit about why I went into medicine in the first place. So I went into medicine because I wanted to help people. And it's quite funny because when you're preparing for your medical school interviews, as I was 7 years ago, you're told, when they ask you why you want to do medicine, never say that you want to help people. Because as a doctor, you can't help everyone. You can't treat everything. You can't always diagnose the right thing. But I disagree with that, and I think that all of us here, and especially me in my position, I am in the position where I can help people if they want to be helped. Even if, and I've seen that, there's many times where a patient will come in and I'm stumped, I don't know what the diagnosis is, or I'm not sure how to treat them, or the treatment that I'm giving isn't working. But just being friendly to them and actually showing the Lord through what I do, that helps people. And so that's why I'm a doctor, because I'm here to help people. Also, growing up, reading the Bible, you notice that Jesus, he went out there and healed people of their infirmities and of their ailments. And it seems to be such a big connection between people's spiritual lives and people accepting God and also people's health. And so I don't think that the two can be separated. I don't think health and faith can be separated. But if you look into, especially the last century, the 20th century, there are a lot of scientists and a lot of people like Freud and people who actually changed the way in which medicine is, that would say that people that had faith or people that had a religion, they were uneducated, they were unintelligent, and they were weak individuals. But I completely disagree with that. But you can understand sometimes that why people think that faith and health can't go together. And a lot of times, because in the media you see people called faith healers about, and I just want to show a clip of some faith healers that we see in America and all over the world really. They have it here in England as well. So there's a video I'd like to play, it's just a minute clip. Is it ready? Yeah, so if you just play it from here, just for into about 3.5 minutes. Wait a minute. Is it not working? Okay, we move on. But basically, you can go to a lot of churches and you'll find faith healers that go around and they can exploit a lot of people for money and get actors up to come to the front. And the video was basically showing this woman who said that she couldn't walk or she was having trouble walking and things. And comes up with someone holding her, and the preacher says, "In the name of Jesus, I rebuke this or I heal you," and pushes her down onto the ground. And the person standing next to her as well falls onto the ground as well, and they make a big show of it. And then she stands up and she starts walking around and dancing and kicking her legs and saying how the Lord has healed her. And so you can understand when there's things like that going on, why some people who are scientists or some people that don't believe in God will say that faith and health can't go together, because that's the kind of shows that we're doing. But that isn't what I'm talking about here today. It's not about pushing someone down to the ground. It's about what God can do in your life to change your health. So I wanted to go to the scripture reading that I read earlier today. And it says in Psalms 139 verse 14, "I will praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvellous are your works, and that my soul knows very well." I read this text because when I was in medical school, in the first 2 years, you sit in the lecture theatre most of the time and you just learn about the body. And when I learned how the body is set up for us to be healthy, and there's so many systems in our body to protect us from illness that we don't even know about, it reminds me of the salvation story that of Jesus dying on the cross to save us from our sins. He's put so many of those get-out-free clauses in our body to prevent illness. And so I think it's amazing how God has made our body. And the fact that God has made us and that we are fearfully and wonderfully made, who better to have faith in when it comes to our health? And this afternoon, some of the systems that I'm alluding to, I'm going to be doing a talk on cancer. And I'm going to be first of all talking about how the body protects us against cancer. And when you see what God's put into place to stop illness, I don't know how anyone could not believe in a creator. So, like I said, I don't think that we can actually separate health and faith. And as Christians, we have a very amazing gift, which is the gift of Jesus. If you turn with me to John 14, verse 6. It's quite a familiar text, so I'll read it. I'm sure a lot of you know it. It says, "Jesus said to him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. Now, I know this text may not be talking about health, but it says here that he is the life. And we have that special gift that is Jesus, who is the life, who is all life. And if we trust in him and we put our faith in him, what more can he give us than the life? And it may not mean that you won't have any ailments here on earth, but there's something bigger to look forward to. So, there was a study that was taking place in 2011. It was a big study. It's called a meta-analysis. And a meta-analysis is when a group of people, researchers, take lots of different research that's already been done and puts all the results together. So in 2011, 2 doctors did this, and they looked at 1,200 studies and 400 reviews that had taken place over the last few years. That's 1,600 reviews it looked at. And it showed that, and throughout the Bible, Auntie Ed read earlier some scripture readings that are about health, and it talks about having a peaceful heart can, cure all diseases and things like that. And the Bible already tells us about that link. But I just want to prove to you that science has also found that there's a link between faith and good health. So in that study, it showed that there are positive health benefits from having a faith. And those positive health benefits are things like protection from illness, coping with illness, and faster recovery times. 81% of the 1,600 studies that took place showed that there's a positive link between having a faith and having good health. And there was only 8% that showed any harm from having faith. And the harm that was actually showed was more in people and with their mental illness, where their religion was more authoritative and had a lot of punishment in, rather than actually having a spiritual relationship with God. So I thought we'd look into the ways in which a faith can help our health. And the first one is mental health. And the thing is, having good mental health affects your body. And we've known this for years. Even when people are atheists, you ask them, if someone's mental health is poor, if they're depressed, will they take the medication, will they see the doctor, will they eat properly, will they sleep right, and they won't. So we know that having good mental health will affect your body. So, talking about mental health, there is a powerful risk factor. It said that hopelessness is a powerful risk factor for developing cancer and having heart attacks. Hopelessness. But we can see throughout the Bible that through the Lord it talks about having hope, having that great hope. In Sabbath school this morning, we were talking about looking at Jesus' suffering, giving us that great hope for the future. Having a faith is linked with better well-being, more hope, having more satisfaction in life and being a more optimistic person, and having a purpose in life. It increases your self-esteem and it helps you to adapt to different stresses in life, such as bereavement. Also, the next thing is coping with severe and terminal illnesses. So there's lots of infections that you can get here and there, but the things that really affect someone's life are the things that are long-term, so diabetes, heart failure, kidney failure, and having cancers, and things that can end your life. And it's found that spirituality is so massive in those that have terminal illness. And it's found that spiritual distress can cause sleeplessness and anxiety. And having sleeplessness, I don't know, well, I'm sure a lot of you here have children. If you remember those first few weeks when you had a newborn, my best friend, she just had a baby now, and she's getting a few hours sleep a night. And it really just changes the way that you are. It changes your demeanour, it makes you feel unwell, having any kind of sleep deprivation. Just think about when you go on a long haul flight and you come back and you're jet lagged, how that makes your body feel. And it's amazing that God already knew that. God knows how important it is for us to sleep and to rest. And that's why the Sabbath day is such a blessing for us, that God has put into the week. And if we just follow his word, to put into the week 1 day out of 7 for us to just truly rest, and that can do so much for our body as well. And then we have positive health behaviours that happen in the church. Adina, in her talk, she talks a lot about the health message that we have at Seventh-day Adventist Church, which is another gift that God's given us. You'll see from people that have a faith, they smoke less, they drink less alcohol, and they have less promiscuous behaviour, which, promiscuous behaviour can lead to infections, lead to long-term illnesses as well. And so positive health behaviours are also important. And then also, the social interaction and having enhanced social relationship that comes from being part of a church family can have wonders for your health as well. at the moment, I'm working in psychiatry and I'm working in the community. And so many of my patients that are unwell, they're isolated. They don't get out of the house, and their only interactions with their support workers from the psychiatric team. However, for us, we have each other every week, at least once a week, if you're able to get out of the house. You come and you fellowship together. If you're losing weight or you don't look very well or you look a bit tired, because we see you so often, someone can point that out. Having those relationships and having friends around you that actually see you and care about you can do so much for your health. And I think it's such a blessing that we can come here each week and fellowship together. And then finally, it's something that I thought was quite interesting, is actually the effect faith and having a positive outlook has on your immune system. So there's this area of medicine that's quite a new area that's been looked at over the last few years, and it's called psychoneuroimmunology. And that's basically the interaction between your mental state, your brain, and your physical and your immune system. And your immune system is just how it fights infection. And the thing is that when your body is stressed and you're distressed, you release something called stress hormones. And the main one that I'm talking about is something called cortisol. And when you have increased amounts of stress hormones in your body, you're more prone to get infections. And from things like the common cold to HIV. And there's actually been studies that show that if you have HIV and you are religious, the number of virus that's in your bloodstream is lower, which I think is just amazing. Just by having a faith can reduce the negative effects of something like HIV. And so those are the few things of how faith can affect our body, how having a positive outlook in life can help our health. But then there's something else that we can't really explain, and this is the bit that maybe the scientists and the atheists in the world don't like to agree with, and that's divine intervention. As Christians, I'm sure a lot of us have gone through life and had health complaints or had diseases or anything like that, and we were healed from it, or we caught it at a stage where, unless something else happened, we would never have caught that before. Or you learn about how a disease should affect somebody, but for you, you're fine. And you can't explain it, but we know that it's the Lord. And I'm sure a lot of you here have testimonies about how the Lord has helped you in your health. And the thing is, for me, I've been fortunate that I haven't had a lot of my own personal health struggles, but I know I have testimonies to tell from my family members who have had health complaints, and the Lord has blessed them. And you can't really think of an explanation, the doctors can't think of an explanation, you know it's God. And I just wanted to, I have some testimonies of my family members that I'm happy to share. But I thought it might be a good opportunity if anyone here has a testimony of how God has worked in their life, in their health. Is there anyone that would like to share anything? If not, I've got some of that I can share myself, if my family don't mind. But is there anyone that would like to share? I see someone pointing at someone.
Glenn probably won't stand up and say it, but
We've got a mic.
he won't get up and say it, but I'll say it for him. His brother was diagnosed with prostate cancer. We would have never thought to check Glenn, but because of this, we checked him, found out that he'd got it, and his brother is terminal, and I'm sorry about that, but God has intervened to show Glenn that he's cured now.
Amen. Amen. Is there anyone else that would like to share? The lady at the back there? Oh. We've got time, we can take both.
Hi, my name's Sasha, and last year, January, I was taken into hospital because one morning I woke up with yellow eyes. This is when I was 35 weeks pregnant, and I thought nothing of it, but my cousin, who was pregnant at the time, she urged me to go to the hospital. So when I went to the hospital, I was minutes away from losing Ezekiel. He was actually revived, and a blood transfusion saved my life. Sorry, I'm nervous. Basically, I had something called HELP syndrome, which was triggered by preeclampsia. So I'm just thankful to be here today and to have Ezekiel.
Amen.
Yes, just my husband won't say anything. But at the moment, he's got prostate cancer, and this is going 12 years now. And when he first started feeling, keep going to the toilet all the time, he went to the doctors, and the doctor said to him, check him, and sent him to New Cross. And when he checked up, he had prostate cancer. And I just want to give God the praise and the honor and the glory, because I knew somebody who had it the same time, and in 2 years they passed away. And he's still here, he's happy, he's doing his allotment, he helped in the home, and God has been really, really good. And I can shout from the hilltop that he pays his son.
Is there anyone else? Well, I'd like to share one. There's many things that have happened with my family that I know just because of God. But there's one that I want to share about my dad. So this happened years ago before I was even thought about, before he met my mum or anything like that. But my dad has a condition called hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. And that's basically where the muscle in the heart wall is thicker than it should be. And so you might have heard on the news of footballers just dropping dead on the pitch. And that's the condition that this happens in. And so obviously I've heard about this happening. My dad, he'll tell the story much better than me, but I understand that he went somewhere and he kept fainting at times. I think he was in his early 20s. One time he fainted after not eating very much after church, running to the bus stop, I believe, but he thought he put it down to not eating very much. And then there was another time that he fainted again. I can't remember the reason why, but he put it down to not being anything serious. But then he went to, when he was at university in Portsmouth, it happened again where he collapsed again. But this time he couldn't rationalise it. So he went to the doctors and they found that he had this condition. And they said that he also had a murmur as well. And so I remember my dad saying that the doctor said to him, walk home very slowly, don't overexert yourself. And it was very worrying at the time. And I remember Dad saying that he obviously told his parents, he told the church family back in Wolverhampton, and everyone was praying for him and praying for him as if he was going to, die or something like that. And he went back to the doctors, and they said that the murmur had gone, and that he just had this condition. Now the reason I say this is so amazing is because years later, I was in my 3rd year of university, and we were in a lecture, and we were getting taught about this condition, hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. All I knew is that my dad had this, but I didn't know much about it. When I learned about that, I'm getting emotional now, I fell over in tears. And this, 2 weeks ago, my dad turned 60. Sorry. My dad turned 60 2 years ago. And 2 weeks ago, he turned 60. And it's just such a blessing that he's here. He still goes out, he plays badminton every Monday and he comes back mashed up from it. But he's still doing so amazingly. And most people will be dead by now. And I know it's because of the prayers of the people that were back in Wolverhampton praying for him. The fact that he went to the doctors and he had a murmur, then he went back, he was gone. I know that was just the Lord. I'm sorry that I got upset about that. But God has done some amazing things, sometimes you can't explain it. And so I just want to just say that I'm so grateful that he's here. And that's just another testimony of, it's not the doctors that did anything, because most of the time the doctors don't even get there before you know about his diagnosis, but he's still here. Sorry, but I just have one more thing to say. If you turn with me again to James 2, verse 14 to 17, and verse 26. So I was not supposed to cry in this. Okay, so it says, what does it profit, my brethren, if someone says he has faith but not have works? Can faith save him? If a brother or sister is naked and destitute of daily food, and one of you says to them, depart in peace, be warmed and filled, but you do not give them the things which are needed for the body, what does it profit? Thus also faith by itself, if it does not have works, is dead. And verse 26. For as the body without the spirit is dead, so faith without works is dead also. Now we have responsibility, all of us, for our own health. There's the Lord and there's faith, and it says here that the body without the spirit is dead. without the Lord, without our faith, where would we be now? But we have a responsibility for our own health as well. We have to know our bodies and we have to take responsibility and not just sit back and say, oh, well, I've got cancer, I'm not going to do anything about it because, you know, the Lord will do what he needs to do. Yes, that happens sometimes, but we have a responsibility for ourselves. The amount of patients that I'll go to and I'll say, what's your past medical history? What conditions do you have? What medication are you on? I'm not sure. Or they tell me 2 things. I look at their last admission and there's 5 other things that happened and they don't know. Or I say to people, this medication that you're on, what is it for? What condition is that for? And they don't know, they don't understand. What are the side effects of this medication? How does it interact with your other medication? And they don't know. I go to people, they come to my clinic, I'm just currently doing psychiatry, and say they've got schizophrenia. And I say, so what's your diagnosis? And say, oh, someone told me I have schizophrenia. What does that mean to you? How does it affect you? How does it affect other people that have that same diagnosis? And they can't tell me anything. Not having insight into your own health is like just giving up. Right now we're in a climate where we don't have, where the NHS budget is being cut and cut and cut. We don't have enough doctors, we don't have enough nurses. So why are you putting your health into the hands of people who are just humans like you and me? Take control of it yourself. I just want to tell the story of, and people say, oh, I'm not educated enough, I don't have access to the internet. Sit down and ask your doctor. I'm the kind of doctor that's probably quite annoying to my patients, but I will sit down with them, I'll tell them their diagnosis, I tell them what's going on, and I'll keep explaining it to them. And I say to them, repeat it back to me, what did I just tell you? Then if I see them the next day, I say, what did I tell you yesterday? Because I want them to take control of their own health. It's the most annoying thing when when you give a patient options and they say, whatever you say, doctor. It's like, I'm not here to make decisions for you, I'm here to help you make them for yourself. And so I just want to tell the story about this patient who's in hospital at the moment. She's a neurologist, so she's a doctor, much smarter than I am because I couldn't be a neurologist, but she's a doctor that deals with the brain. And so a few years ago when she was training like me, she had a stress-related breakdown. And so she went into hospital having some mental health problems, she just had a breakdown. But she recovered very quickly, went back to work and carried on with her life. Just over a year ago, she divorced her husband, and she started to have similar symptoms again. Something that we call psychosis, so hearing voices, being paranoid about people, and she stopped eating and drinking, started losing weight, so much so that people at her work had to take her to the A&E in the hospital that she worked in and get her brought into hospital. She got to the point where she wasn't eating, she wasn't drinking, she wasn't talking, and she had to have the electroconvulsive therapy, which is for people with severe mental health problems. She recovered quite well, and then it came time for her to be discharged back into the community where our team takes over. And so at that discharge meeting, she was just on about, when can I come off medication? When can I go back to work? Can I go back to work in 2 weeks? Can I go back to work in 3 weeks? Bearing in mind, this woman had just had electroconvulsive therapy. She wasn't ready to go back to work. And she was just like, this was just a stress reaction, that's what it was, and wouldn't accept the diagnosis that she'd been given. When she got out of hospital, we tried to do home visits, but she'd be like, you're intruding, you're being too evasive, I'm fine, I just need to go back to work. And she would stop eating and drinking. And we said to her, unless she takes control and understands her diagnosis and owns her diagnosis, she's going to end up back in hospital. And right now she's back in hospital. That is somebody who's a neurologist, she deals with the brain. She's a doctor, she's educated. It's not about the education that you have, it's about taking responsibility for yourself. So I just want to end this on 2 messages. First of all, faith is amazing. The gift that God has given us with this religion, our Christianity, is amazing, but also take control of your own health. Okay, thank you. Amen.